This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, it's all about the hearts. Because we're going to be talking about love today in a premium way. Because today we're talking about Love Letter Premium from AEG. This is a new set of the original Love Letter art with some upgraded components, some new ways to play, some new roles, and it plays from 2 to 8 players now. Let me show you what's in here. If you have not played Love Letter or you don't know about it, watch the video in the link in this video here for the original Love Letter review, because I'm not going to be going over those standard roles. I'm only going to be going on what's different. So let's take a look. Let me just show you the box here. Here's some of the hearts and components that come in it as opposed to the older cubes. And then when you flip the box, this is a magnetic lid here that snaps shut. And then when you open it up, it has some nice artwork of all the different characters there. And then we have the much larger cards. We'll go into this in detail, but the box is really nice. Now the cards in this game are the most impressive part. Number one is they're not really even cards. They're actually thick cardstock that don't really bend. It's stiff, it's nice. That's what the cards look like on the back. Here's what they are here, and they all come, it comes like this with these sleeves. So you can put this card in here, you put this in the sleeves. It has some extra ones too, and a really cool looking Love Letter. Now to show you how big these cards are, here's the original Love Letter guard. I mean, it's a lot bigger. I mean, it looks really nice, they feel good. The only bad thing is they're a little bit harder to shuffle, but I'll take that because they're stiff, they're hard, they feel great in your hands, and they're big and the artwork's great as it used to be. Now if you're playing 2 to 4 players, you play Love Letter the exact same way you always have with the same cards. If you're playing with 5 to 8 players, in addition to the 16 cards in the normal Love Letter game, you're going to add the other 16 cards and the new roles to play. You're going to use the entire deck, so 32 total cards, and play it as normal. Let's go over what the new roles do. The assassin's a number 0. If you have this card in your hand and somebody accuses you with the guard to be any number, regardless if they're right or not, you flip this card down and that player who's accusing you is out. This card's obviously discarded, so you would draw a new one. The Jester's also a 0. What you do is you give this yellow heart to the player you think is going to win the round. If that player does win the round, you get a token of affection yourself. The guard acts just like the normal guard, except they look a little bit different. And since you're playing with more roles, you only have to name the number, not the name of the card. Since there's a 7 on both the old cards and the new cards, for example, you would just say 7. The Cardinal allows you to choose 2 players. You could include yourself, and then essentially you trade hands and then you look at one of the hands. The Baroness will allow you to look at up to 2 players' hands and just look at them. Now when you play this card, you select a player. When the next player plays a card, if it affects somebody else, the player that you selected with this card has to be a part of that. Now the count allows you to add 1 to the card that you're holding at the end of the game if it gets to the end of the round to see who is the winner. Now these stack, so if you have 2 of these, it would increase the card you're holding at the end by 2, and in this case you can actually beat the princess at the end by having a higher number than her. Now the Constable does something at the end of the game. Once this is in your discard pile, if you're knocked out, you then gain a token of affection, so you want to get knocked out if you have the Constable in your discard pile. Now when you use the Queen, it's kind of like the reverse Baron, where you compare hands with somebody else, and the higher one is the one knocked out. Now using the Bishop acts sort of like a guard, where you'll point to somebody and you'll name the number of card you think they have. If they do, you get a token of affection, but then that player's not out, they just draw a new card. Plus it's a 9. If you get to the end of the game, even though the 9 is bigger than the 8, which is a princess, the princess still beats the Bishop. All right, well, there's Love Letter Premium. Now, I gotta say that from a production standpoint, it really does feel like you're playing a premium version, so it lives up to that name. Those cards are just amazing. They feel awesome in your hands. They're big, they're chunky. Having the sleeves with those are awesome because we sleeve Love Letter all the time anyways, and so they came up with some cool sleeves that look amazing as well. And getting rid of the cubes and having those awesome hearts there, really cool. The box is nice, so it really does feel like a premium version. Now the new roles, I really liked them. I thought they were really original. They felt like love letter-ish, but yet different. Love, things like the gesture where you can guess who you think's going to win and get a token. I like how, the assassin, hey, someone's going to go after you with the guard, you're out. Being able to, swap hands with people, do different things. I really liked the new rules a lot. However, you can only play with them with 5 to 8 players. And here's where I had a problem with this part of the game. The normal game, you play with 4 players and you play till 4 tokens of affection. With 5 to 8 players, you still play with 4 tokens of affection. Yes, there's three cards that allow you to get tokens of affection during the game, more than normal. And I see that they're trying to do that to keep it so it's somewhat close time-wise to the real game, the original game. But I found that it wasn't enough. The game still with 5 to 8 players still felt much too long. The rounds really felt like they dragged. They took too long. And then it took too long for people to get to 4. It really took almost twice as long to play this game with 5 to 8 than it did with 4. Because again, even with 8 players, right? You've got twice as many cards, but you've got twice as many people, and you got to get 4 tokens of affection. And yes, there's cards to help you get them during them, but there's not enough. You don't quite. There's only 3 rolls, and each of them only have 1 card each. So there's only 3 cards in the deck that can do it, and some of them are pretty specific as to when you can get them. So I like the idea of what they were going for there. I think there should have been more of that, or make those things more easily available to speed the game up. Because I like the new rolls, and I love the ability to play this for more players, but I don't want it to take twice as long as Love Letter. I mean, Love Letter itself, even with 4 players, getting 4 tokens of affection, sometimes can start to overstay its welcome a little bit. The Batman Love Letter version came out with a rule where, hey, if you knock somebody out, you get a token. And I've always, since that game has come out, used that rule with my original Love Letter. I felt like it really made the game last about right. So if I'm playing this, I'm playing with that variant where if someone gets knocked out by somebody, they are getting a token in addition. Otherwise, it was just too long and dragged. So it's sad for me because I love the new rules. I want to be able to play with more players. But it really does slog the game down quite a bit, to the point where I don't really enjoy it with 5 to 8, even though those rolls are awesome. I actually even tried a couple of variants to try to make the game a little bit shorter and feel not quite twice as long, but having the new rolls, and I wasn't able to come up with anything that really worked. But so overall, but I will say that if you love the game Love Letter and you want a better version, I think it probably is even worth it to buy this game for how awesome the cards look and feel in your hands, because it really does make the game more enjoyable, in my opinion. So that's that. If you don't mind playing, some people might not mind a longer version of Love Letter, but it adds more complexity, more rolls, and they might not want to, mind playing it that long. Just be known that if you play with that many, it's just going to drag on a bit. So that's Love Letter Premium. One I can recommend if you're willing to spend the money for better components, but just be leery that it's a little too long with 5 to 8.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.